rock stars, roadies, or groupies were harmed in the making of this broadcast. Giving it to you straight and no chaser. This is On the Rocks with Jamie Wilson. Hey guys, how you doing, man? Welcome to On the Rocks. I'm Jamie Wilson, and I hope you guys are staying safe and staying cool. It's been a crazy week so far. We're back on MECQ, so it means, a little bit of movement is allowed. Curfew hours have been modified, but just want to remind you guys to stay safe out there. If you do have to go out, please double up on your safety protocols. Wear 2 masks, man. Don't forget to wear your face shield and wear the mask and the face shield properly. Because there's nothing more annoying than seeing a person walking around with their mask on their, below their nose. That doesn't help anybody. So it's our shared responsibility to make sure that we're all safe and that we all get through this together. And tonight we got a really exciting guest. They're not a new band. They've been around for a while, but apparently for the first few years they were too drunk and they don't remember their first few years, and that's going to be really, really interesting to find out exactly what was going on with them. But before we go on to them, we'd like to thank our friends and our supporters. Thank you so much to Buenos Panaderia and Misty Mountain Cafe. Misty Mountain Cafe has some amazing premium blend coffees, and to pair them up with my own personal source of happiness, you got to have the Milo buns from Buenos Panaderia. They are just to die for. It's a taste of childhood in your mouth, but upgraded, baby. And they're the most amazing things. It's a great combination. And of course, we'd like to shout out to our friends from Liquor.PH. Now, this April, rum rules at Liquor.PH. Liquor.PH is giving you great deals on rum all month long. One of the most fun rums out of the Dominican Republic is Matusalem Platino, perfect for your summer cocktails. They sent me a bottle over, and man, I'm feeling summer all over. For all things rum, Liquor.PH has special discounts ongoing for single bottles and special bundles. And as always, you get free delivery if you're within Metro Manila, only from Liquor.PH. Now, our guests tonight are quite interesting. I've been watching YouTube videos of them. They've got 2 singles out on Spotify. They're a hard rocking band. And, it's rare that you find a hard rocking band now that, like the blues rock, a heavy blues rock that these guys are putting out. And it's quite exciting to see these guys probably rising up and take the mantle of the hard rock scene when gigs do come back. But their 2 singles do kick ass. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce the Black Wolf Gypsies. All right. Hey, June. How are you? Kamusta, June?
Hello. Good evening.
Kamusta, bro?
Ayos naman. Eto, sumasyat na. Rock and roll.
Yan, ako rin, pare. Cheers. Cheers, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
So, kamusta tayo for during the pandemic, pare? Are we surviving the pandemic?
Yung last year na unang pasok ng pandemic, medyo syempre na-shock eh. Parang, di ba, parang di natin alam yung gagawin natin eh. Pero ito, itong 2021, medyo nakakapag-adjust na tayo sa changes.
Di ba, 1 year in, medyo may adjustment na tayo, pero nakakamiss yung live gigs, pare.
Nung una, syempre, nakakamiss live gigs. Parang, kasi di ba dati, bago mag-pandemic, magtatrabaho ka ng weekdays, tapos weekend gig na eh. Tapos nagkaroon ng pandemic, wala, parang parang nangyari, parang ganun. Pero nung una, di ba, pumasok yung pandemic, sabi nila, 1 week lockdown lang, ganyan, 2 weeks okay lang yan, para pahinga tayo sa gig, di ba? Parang gano'n. Pero nung tumatagal na, wala na gig. Parang, nangyari, online gig, parang gano'n. Pero, iba pa rin yung live eh.
Iba yung live, pare. Iba yung nasa harap ka ng tao, tapos yung crowd mo nandun, tapos mainit, maingay. Iba yung online gig.
Sayang pa naman kasi yun ang gimmick namin. Yun yung pinaka-gimmick namin eh. After a while kasi di ka na lumalabas.
So June plays the drums for Black Wolf Gypsies.
Yes, sir.
And this is Mike Twain. He's the vocalist and the guitar player. Mike, how are you doing, pare? How's the pandemic been treating you?
Bad. So bored.
Right? I
Yeah, so
feel you, man.
bored.
I feel you.
So bored. And
But
a bit
with
frustrated.
yeah,
A bit frustrated about it.
it's quite frustrating because like like what June nga was saying, 'di ba? Yung una sabi nila 1 week, 2 weeks, tapos naging 3 months, tapos naging 6 months,
Mm.
tapos medyo at least lumuwag naman ng konti nung November tsaka December. Tapos
Mm.
pagpasok ng January, doon natin nakita na, uy, sandali, tumataas na naman yung mga numbers, 'di ba? Sa Feb. Tapos ngayon,
Mm.
MECQ, balik tayo sa MECQ. So ang tindi ng adjustment natin na 1 year na di
Mm.
tayo nakaka-gig, di tayo
Mm.
nakaka-gather, hindi tayo pwede lumabas, sarado pa rin yung mga bars, hindi natin
Mm.
alam kung bukas
Mm.
kung mawala yung pandemic, kung bukas pa yung mga bars na tinututugan natin eh. Hindi natin alam
Mm.
kung magsasarado sila, kung kaya nilang mag-recover. So June, as the drummer of Black Wolf Gypsies, pare, ano yung
Mm.
ano yung sounds na tumutugtog sa bahay mo nung lumalaki ka?
Nung 90s kasi, hindi pa ako masyadong nakikinig ng rock eh. Parang ano ako, dancer pa eh nung 90s eh.
Talaga, dancer.
Oh,
Hayop.
pero yun lang, syempre, di ba, yung kinalakihan mo, mga kabarkada mo, puro dancer, nagba-backdive, nagda-dolphin dive, street
Wow.
Sorry
boys,
guys.
UMD. Tapos, pagdating ko ng grade 6, meron akong best friend, pangalan niya, John Lee.
Mm.
Then, nintroduce niya ako sa Eraserheads. Pinigyan sa akin yung tape nung, yung first album, yung Electromagnetic. Ano yun 1996, alam ko kasi yung lumabas nun, Caterpillar na, pero sabi niya, ito muna, first album muna. Pakinggan mo muna, kung matitriban mo. So, pinakinggan ko, Shirley, pare ko, ano ba yun? Combo Ondaran. Nagustuhan ko naman, tapos kinabukasan, tinanong niya ako, ano, trip mo ba, pre? O, ito yung circus sa Caterpillar, piniram sa akin yung cassette tape. So yun, from
Nice.
doon, kumbaga yung pinaka-baseline ko ng rock is yung Eraser was hanggang sa nakadiscover na ako ng mga iba pang rock bands, artists from Pinoy papuntang foreign.
So paano ka nag-umpisa ng mag-drums? Or nag-drums ka na dati?
Mag-drums?
Oo.
Okay. Kasi nung grade 6 kami, di ba, pag bata kayo, nanonood kayo ng mga Masked Man, di ba, parang ako, pag magkakabarkada kayo, ako si Red One, di ba, tapos yung barkada mo si Green 2, Green 3, Blue 3.
Bioman yun eh.
Kami, kayo Bioman ba yun?
Bioman yan eh. Pero okay lang, same. Same.
Kayo magkakabarkada, Eraserheads yung ginawa namin pa ng ganun eh. Yung classmate kong, yung best friend ko, siya daw si Ellie. Tapos siya si Marcus. Siya si Buddy. So, no choice ako. Sabi ko, sige, ako lang si Raymond. Di kunyari, Eraserheads kami. Tapos, minsan, nasa playground kami ng school. Kunyari, gumagawa kami ng music video ng Eraserheads. Yung mga ganun trip lang. Tapos yun, parang, nagustuhan ko na, sige, drummer na lang ako. Parang ganun.
That has to be the most unique answer that I've ever gotten. How did you start playing drums? Kasi dati bioman. Tapos may that has to be the most unique answer, June. Mag-shoutout lang tayo sa Facebook commenters. Nandito si Nan. Hi Nan. How are
Hi, Nan.
you? Si Christiana Mo, si Cyril Magramo, Luden Del Mundo Salazar,
Hi, Luden.
si Chelly Ann Garcia de Binigracia. They're all saying hi. Si Nicole Portugal. Hello, miss you guys, sabi niya. Ayan, sample daw, dolphin dive, please. Sabi ni Melina. Hirap naman.
Mamaya.
Headphones eh. All right, so that's how
mahaba
June
pa
got
naman
into
to, Jamie,
drumming.
di ba? Parang
Mahaba pa to. Sige.
Pa tayo ng
I-angle mo lang yung camera mo. So that's how June, I think, has the most unique answer to how you started playing drums. But let's hear from Mike. Mike, what did you grow up listening to?
Ako, I grew up with my father is a music enthusiast. From Beatles, Bee Gees, mga ganyan, right? Tapos everybody took piano lessons sa family. Tapos I was lucky enough that my neighbors and my sister's older sister's barkada is into the music scene. Mga solid rock and roll people yan noong 90s. So hindi ako kinulang sa pag may hindi ka kayang kanta, tatanong mo lang, paano mo ginagawa to? Yung ganyan. So I was lucky enough for that. So I've been playing the guitar since 4th year high school. Pero I never really formed a band. Nagbuo lang ako ng banda mga patapos yung college. So I figured, matry nga. Ganun. So yun. I think I was lucky enough na daming resources. Kasi dati walang internet right?
Oo.
Walang internet. So dati kakatok ka sa kapitbahay. Paturo nga, paano ba mag-tono? Diba? Tapos and everybody was into Razorback and Wolf Gang. Walang tuner. Basta tiring, gano'n. Basta na-shoot yung tiring, gano'n. Okay na yun. Kahit hindi standard yan. Kasi everybody was into, yung time kasi yun, Eraserheads, Razorback, River Maya, Wolf Gang era So, lagi kami nasa peps. Ngayon, lagi kami nasa peps. Tapos, pag may date ka, sa Fat Tuesdays ka para hindi maingay.
Yun. So, para may talking time ka. May talking time ka ng konti.
Kasi pagka Razorback Wolf Gang noon, mainit lang na magulo na maingay
That's true.
So, swerte lang. Environment ko was very conducive para magbanda ka. I'm older than June, by the way, 2 years. Kaya when he's talking about grade school, I'm talking about high school.
Well, let's not go to the age, okay? Because I'm older than the both of you combined. But okay, so Mike, can I ask you, when you first picked up the guitar, what were the first songs you started playing? What were the first songs you started playing?
1001, yung parang hot sheets ng music. 1001, right? So puro Beatles yan. Puro Billy Joel. Ganyan. Tapos since wala kang source ng Guns N' Roses, Metallica, you had to go to this shop. I think it was Cherry something na pwede ka mag-Xerox ng mga tablatures.
Wow.
Yeah. So, magko-commute ka, lalabas ka, gagastos ka. Tapos pag uwi mo, may music sheets ka, yun yung gold mo. Yun yung ginto mo. Right? So, from Guns N' Roses and Metallica, I watched a Razorback concert. Plot sila for the youth nung time na yon. So when I watched them, may isang punk guy na tinuro niya si David Aguirre and he says, ilan taon ka na ba? Ganyan. 13, ganyan. Sabi niya sa akin, mas matanda lang ng konti sa'yo yan. Parang gano'n. So sabi ko, uy, talaga? So then I thought, matry nga guitars. So from piano, I bought an acoustic na sobrang bulok. So after that, may acoustic na ako. So yung neighbor ko is a very good guitar player, conservatory of music. So
doon ka nagle-lessons, tumatawid ka lang.
Hindi siya lessons eh. More of pupunta ako sa bahay niya kasi doon nakakapag-music ka. So yung dala kang gitara. Tapos paturo nga to, ano ba to? Ganyan. Siya gagawin niya, papakinggan niya yung dala ko yung tape. Tapos i-play niya, kakapain niya on the spot. Ito yan, ganyan. Parang ganun. Tapos turuan niya ako. Pero I didn't play like in the band. Gusto ko for personal consumption lang at that time.
Ikaw, June, ano yung mga unang piyesang tugtog mo as a drummer? What did you first start playing?
Sorry, Jamie.
What did you first start? Ano yung mga unang piyesa mo as a drummer nung natuto kang mag-drums?
Mag-drums? Third year high school, una namin tinutug sa program, Boys Don't Cry. Madali lang.
Black Wolf.
80s. Yeah, next, very nice.
80s, kasi new wave yun.
Di ko alam yan, Jun.
Tapos pak, puro gano'n. Abangan mo lang
yung alam yan, Jun.
Jen.
Akala ko e-heads. Akala ko solid e-heads start mo.
Nung e-heads kami, lang kami noon trip lang sa playground, gumagawa kami ng music video. Ganyan. Tapos, from doon kasi, yun yung naging impluwensya ko, yung Eraserheads. Tapos, iba na yung mga naging classmate ko kasi nung high school. Parang dumating na yung mga ibang music. Nalaman ko na yung Oasis, nalaman ko na yung The Cure. So, yung first na live na tugtog ko, kanta na tinutug namin doon, Boys Don't Cry. Pero
Nice.
sobrang basic lang.
I remember the first band I had. It was a high school band also. Yung una naming tinugtog is Van Halen, Jump.
Ah,
Kasi yung religion teacher namin, frustrated musician siya. So, ginawa niya, nag-form siya ng mga banda sa mga classes niya, sa mga estudyante niya. Sabi niya, Jamie, tara, kanta tayo ng rock and roll. Sabi ko, ba rock and roll? Catholic school kami. Rock and roll talaga? Oo, tutugin natin yung Jump. Di ba? So, yung religion teacher namin, nung nagki-keyboard, nung tumutugtog kami ng Jump, tapos nasa covered court kami. Oo, di ba? We never forget our first experience with rock and roll, pare. Sabi ko, ito pala yung rock. Okay to Kasi before that, puro musical theater lang, puro what you hear on the radio, pero iba yung the first time you played rock and roll in front of a crowd, tapos naramdaman mo yung energy. Tapos sabi ko,
iba.
Eto na yon. I sold my soul to rock and roll, pare. That was the time. So okay, so you started playing, out of high school, but you formed the band in college na, when you were in college. What
yeah.
made you form? Was it when you formed the band, it was Black Wolf Gypsies right away? Or did you form
No.
bands previously?
No, ako dami kong nadaanan na banda before mag Black Wolf Gypsies. Pero siguro I can say na 70% tong banda na yun, puro jamming lang. Puro jamming lang. Yeah. Jam lang kami ng jam, tapos inuman. Tapos whenever we talk about playing live, ang lagi namin tanong, saan? Tsaka sino kukuha sa atin? Kasi years back, it was so mysterious di ba? Pagka nakapag-front sa isang malaking banda yung friend yung high school, ikaw, ano kayo kinuha dyan? You don't know right? Pero ngayon kasi alam mo na, baka skin out ka sa YouTube or whatever. Pero dati, it was such a mystery, we didn't know what to do. So, we just played and played. Ang may kilala sa amin yung kapitbahay na naiingayan. Pero, pag bumaba ka, rock and roll. Kasi, nung time na yun, puro Black Sabbath, Razorback, tsaka at saka Zeppelin yung mga kino-cover nyo. So, mainly, ang may natutuwa sa amin kapitbahay yung mga matatanda.
Tama, yung mga ka-generation ng Black Sabbath, alam niya, kilala. Diba?
Oo. Pas pag may kina-cover sila sa'yo, pas hindi mo nagawa, disappointed yung mukha nila na parang, wala to.
Olats, pare, olats.
Puro NIV lang ba alam nyo?
So with all the bands that you went through, jamming lang and all that, how did the Black Wolf Gypsies happen?
Shucks. Okay, prior to Black Wolf, June and Brian were in the same band. Tapos I was in a different band called House of Ravens. They were in a band called Timog. By this time, may internet na ng konti. Konti. Pero
dial up.
Oh, yeah. So meron ng mga prod. So now, nakakatugtog ka na kasi I think by college ako may mga prod na, so all we have to do is ask some guy, sama mo naman kami. So Timog tsaka House of Ravens, nakatugtog kami, nagkakasabay kami, tapos minsan sa isang gabi lahat metal, kami lang yung classic rock, hard rock, ganyan. So kami yung nagkasundo. Tapos one time, familiar ka sa Bandang Toyo, right? Yung Bandang Toyo.
Yes.
They released this song of theirs sa isang gig, tapos banda nila June tsaka banda ko yung ginawang ni Erwin. Tapos on the same day, pag-uwi namin, nag-split na yung House of Ravens ko, tsaka nag-split na yung Timog nila June. Tapos since drummer si June, bahisa si Brian, ako guitar vocals. Tapos ayaw na namin ng hassle. Sabi ko, the lesser people here, the better. So nasa jeep kami, sobrang lasing namin. Commute kami ganyan, nasa jeep kami sa Alabang sa Pote. So buo na lang tayo. Paano? Alawan de la Cruz, tatlo lang. So that's...
Ang challenge lang namin, pag mag-practice kami sa studio, ang laki ng sharing namin kasi tatlo lang kami.
Correct.
Yeah.
Pero pag may budget naman yung tugtog, malaki din yung
Ayun,
share.
baka,
oo,
oo.
malaki din share
Di ba?
natin. Yun ang
Oh,
advantage
tatlo
nyo
lang
ngayon.
yan.
Which is very rare.
Yes.
Di ba? Para bang, basta kapag save pa ako ng pera mo nung walang gig eh. Alam mo yun?
That's what I was amazed when I was researching on you guys and I was like, stalking you on YouTube and watching your videos. I first started listening to your two singles on Spotify. And that's Manhidden Biyahe. And I'm like, wow, ang laki ng sound. Tapos nagulat ako. Nung nakita ko kayo sa YouTube, tatlo lang sila. And the sound, it's rare kasi you find a power trio nowadays. Everybody always wants another guitar player. In fact, the band I play with Blue Rats, and we have three guitar players.
Sarap.
But to
Jamming
have a power trio is so rare, and to still have a very full and a very big sound is also even more rare. So when the three of you got together, nung lasing kayo sa jeep sa sa Alabang Zapote, ano yung next steps nyo? Sabi nyo, magsusulat na tayo, maghanap tayo ng label.
Okay.
Ano yung next steps mo?
Ano kasi, ever since masulat naman ako even if laging nasa archives lang, and I write it down, I really take it seriously, ganyan. Tapos I was surprised sa Black Wolf Gypsies kasi ang gulo namin eh.
Oo nga, nakita ko sa YouTube. Gulo nyo.
Ang gulo namin. Tapos it's only until we figured out na we should regulate our drinking. Doon lang kami nag-start na isipin yung totoong tunog. So what I did was I had this effects, a distortion modified para ka-stereo ka. Kasi I figured tatlo kami, so it has to be full.
Yeah.
Yung ganon. So we started figuring that out. Sa recording, madali naman pakapalin yan eh. Kasi you can dub things over.
You can layer, you can do,
So, nung nagsawa na kami nagkakalat, I think that was the moment na we should stop drinking. Well, we didn't stop drinking, but
at least you had focus na. You were still drinking, but you were drinking with focus. Yan, iba yun eh. Iba yun. And this was like how long before you realized this? Because when I asked you earlier off cam, before the show, how long you guys have been together, you said like 10 years.
10 years and more. Maybe 10 years
10 years and more, but you don't remember the first 3 or 4 years.
Well, we remember it a little bit. Remember all the mistakes and the fights. Alam mo yun? Kasi alam mo, advantage namin kasi ni June, kaya namin mag-away eh. I think it's very critical sa banda na marunong kayo mag-away. Kasi pag hindi mo kayang i-handle yung away, doon nasisira eh. Kami, hindi, ikaw masyado ka ganito. Hindi, ikaw kaya yung masyado ganyan. Basta direct, teka lang. Panoorin na natin yung cellphone video. O ikaw yung mali doon. Tangina ako nga. Yung mali rin pala ako. So marunong kami mag-away ng tama and napaka outspoken pa naman namin ni June. So we really talk shit each other ng todo. Alam mo yan? And it helped. But we love each other, diba? So
yeah, I think there's a healthy way of fighting. As long as you're fighting for the right reasons, then that pushes the music forward eh. You know?
It does, yeah. That's true.
Ikaw naman, June, agree ka ba? Or disagree?
Sa away?
Oo.
Hindi, yung pinag-aabayan naman namin, sa naman yun eh, parang sa ikalilinis ng tugtugan, sa ikaganda ng goal ng banda. So, why not mag-away, di ba? Kasi hindi kayo mag-away, pero parang may mali na pala sa ginagawa.
Taguan lang, no?
Taguan lang. Parang taguan lang. Okay lang. Parang mali na pala yung ginagawa nyo, pero parang tinutuloy nyo pa rin. Yun, parang para sa akin mali.
Totoo. That's true. Mali yun, hindi kayo nag-aaway, pero nag-aaway kayo deep inside. Right? That's
mali yun, man. That's actually not healthy at all. And hindi siya productive kasi hindi nyo naayos yung mga problema eh. You know, so it's good, that's a good thing. That's a good piece of advice to take forward for anybody out there listening who's forming a band. Know how to fight. And if you're fighting for the good, if you're fighting for the right reasons, para sa ikabubuti ng mga tugtog, para sa development ng sound nyo, sa advancement ng gigs nyo, that's a good reason to actually argue and fight para lang, 'di ba? you keep on getting better.
Yeah.
Now, when you started playing, what were the places, what were the venues you would play at? Nung tumutugtog na kayo?
At
Dito
first,
sa South
iba-iba
eh. Doon
talaga.
madalas sa South eh.
Meron sa something. Iba-iba eh. Marami doon
Checkpoint.
sarado.
Checkpoint bar.
Checkpoint pinakamatibay. Yun ang
Mm.
matagal. I mean,
Ito pa,
3 checkpoint ang abutan namin.
parang memorable gig namin. Tumugtog kami sa beer house.
Mm.
Oo, yeah.
No, Mike?
That's fun. Ano kami, merong sa Las Piñas kasi parang may beer house dito na you have to go upstairs tapos may live band, ganyan. Eh, syempre kami, sa downtime namin, anong gagawin namin? So, pumunta kami doon, right? Tapos, may show band na medyo may edad eh, no? May edad sila.
May show band, tapos may showgirl din.
It's that kind of a beer bar. Okay.
Yeah. Beer house talaga.
Nag-request na kami, pwede bang jumam? Ganun, jam. Sige, jam kayo, jam. Sabi nung banda. Tinutug namin yung original song namin.
At saka isang Beatles. Tumugtog tayo ng isang Beatles doon, Jim.
Tapos, nagkataon yung mga audience doon, mga construction
patrons.
Boys eh. Siyempre, di ba, beer house
mga patrons
beer
nila.
House, eh.
Mga patrons
boys,
nila.
Nagustuhan nila rock and roll eh. Tapos, more hanggang sa kami na yung tumugtog yung show band. Nanonood na lang sa amin.
Okay yun
Saka ang masarap doon, hindi kailangan malinaw lyrics mo, wala silang pake. Alam mo yun? Parang they focus on, tangina, may lead solo yan, rock and roll yan, ganyan. Tapos, of course, focus sila sa katabi nila. Yeah.
So nice, man. So that the beer house experience, tapos nag-take over pa kayo ng band setup.
Dapat
yung featured band.
Yan yung kasama sa first 3 years. Kasama sa first 3 years.
The first 3 years you can barely remember, so that's the one thing.
Yeah,
that's the one thing that you remember. And then where else did you guys used to play? I mean, I think earlier you mentioned Sassy's, which also known as Mayrix.
Yeah.
How did it feel playing there, pare? Because I loved when I first started jamming with sila Razorback and Coco Jam and that in the 90s in Mayrix.
Yeah.
I was not aware of the history of Mayrix.
Yeah.
So when you walk into the bar, you're thinking, okay, nasa university ba tayo, mga estudiantes and all that. Pero nung nalaman ko yung musical history and the significance of Mayrix, yung tumutugtog ka, you're giving it your all, tapos yung wala kang applause, wala kang screaming kasi lahat sila very discerning sa Mayrix. Yeah. So parang pressure yon.
Sa Sassy's, you're very lucky and unlucky at the same time kasi I think it was Mike Pure who invited us. Meron siyang Friday Caravan.
Yeah.
Kami yung bago sa kanila. Kami yung neophyte.
Tayo.
Right? So,
sila Annie Bughaw, sila.
Yeah, Annie Bughaw, ganyan. Hash Brown, yung mga banda. Everybody was into rock and roll. Tapos since kami yung bago, kami naman in fairness naman sa amin, maaga kami dumating sa gig. Right? So maaga kami dumating. Pagdating pa lang namin, naglo-load up na kami ng Red Horse. As in, loading up. Tapos nalaman namin last band kami.
Aray,
oo. As in, wasak. Masaya naman sila. Alam nila yung mga kanta kasi syempre rock and roll. Alam rin nilang magulo. Pero alam rin nila na we put on a show. So, masarap yung palakpak. Alam mo yun, masarap naman. Pero nung pauwi kami, hindi namin maalala yung until nakita namin yung video. Tapos parang ginawa natin. Parang gano'n.
No, but that's one thing I love about you guys, that you guys put on a show. You don't just stand there and play your songs. You guys put on a show. When you guys, from the videos that I've seen, and I might have seen you back in the day, but I was also probably too drunk to remember, right? But when you watch these guys, for our listeners out there, when you watch these guys, they put on a fucking kick-ass show. Like, this is how rock and roll should be. I've seen videos of like Mike grabbing a cymbal, and doing a extended ending na siya na may hawak na siyang drumstick. It's a lot of fun, and I think there's an element kasi with you guys that I really enjoyed. Through videos. I would love to see you guys live now that I'm a little bit more sober. I think there's a dangerous element that should be always present in rock and roll. Parang pag nanonood ka ng
Yeah.
Razorback, di ba? So all of us are fans of Razorback. I'm a big fan of Razorback. I love those guys. And you never know what they're going to do on stage. They never play the same song in the same way, you
Yeah,
know?
that's true.
And
Especially Kevin.
yeah, Kevin, or, konting tinginan lang, tapos saan kayo pupunta? Pero, 'di ba, sama tayo. 'Di ba, yung audience sama. You
Mm.
guys have that same energy and that same element of danger. And I think that's why, Razorback chose you guys to open for them, because I think it's very complimentary in that
Oh, that
sense. Where
killing
there's a
moment. Killing moment.
oh, 'di ba? That would be kilig. Me, I get kilig every time I jam with
Yes.
them, man. I used to jam with them in Cali, and really there's nothing like good old hard rock and roll. But when you guys started playing and getting your shit together after you said, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't drink so much," diba? You started releasing music. You started
Yeah.
releasing music, and now just recently, you got signed to Black Sheep and Viva. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So how was that experience? Getting signed.
It's weird because yung label ngayon is so different from yung concept ng label back in the 90s and 80s, right?
True.
Ibang-iba siya. Now it's really social media, etc. Pero ito kasi yung thing eh. Actually, a friend of mine asked me that, si Jan Christine, he asked me that, ano yung feeling. Sabi ko, I don't know how to feel, how I'm supposed to feel. Kasi we
Mm.
got signed when I was already 39 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, siguro if I got signed back in my 20s, iba yung feeling, right?
Well, I think you'd be too drunk to remember getting signed by a label.
Yeah, probably. Pero yung excitement, I was excited pero we were also focused. Kasi may edad
Yes.
na kami eh. When we got signed,
Oh.
matanda na kami,
Mm.
right? So kami, okay, how are we going to approach this properly? Ganun yung reaction. So, excited ka sa loob, pero yung behavior mo sa labas, it was more calculated, ganyan. So I can't really explain yung enthusiasm and excitement of being signed. To
Mm.
us, it's more of okay, this is the next logical step, and so we took it very logically versus yung crazy we made something ganyan. Hindi ganun. Probably
Well,
kung bata ka din na sign.
yeah. I mean, if you've been through all that you've been through, and then at 39 you get signed, and you've been doing this for a while, there's a certain like, oh, na-sign na tayo. Anong gagawin natin?
Yeah, more of ganun.
Diba?
More of ganun. More of ganun
Parang
siya. More of
now
ganun siya.
what?
Now what, yeah. But it's still exciting though. Pero it's so different. I'm assuming it's so different. Versus
Well,
let's say yung mga
I mean, with the record labels, the way they operated in the 80s and the 90s, to considering how the music industry is now, where you have
yeah,
a lot of independent labels going up, you
yeah,
have
that's true.
a lot of I think you have more opportunities now, simply because of the
Okay.
social media and the digital age, to actually get your stuff out there. I remember, in my first few bands back in the 90s, I mean, we would have to actually print out and Xerox flyers and go
Yeah,
around
that's
giving
true.
physical flyers. And
Yeah,
now it's so much easier because you have social media, you have management, you have the internet to
Social
help you
media.
out. 'Di ba? And when you get to the gig, you see the fruits of your labors. Dati, pag physical flyers 'yan, depende kung ilang flyers ma-print out mo, ilang taong
yeah.
nabigyan mo, kung type nilang pumunta, 'di ba? At least now it's a lot easier. But I think also in terms of the music industry changing, parang in my opinion, mas brave sila ngayon to sign people. Kasi dati, yung kalaban nila, like nung lumabas yung unang mga Eraserheads albums, unang Razorback album, parang tinetesting pa lang nila may market ba yung rock and roll. At
Yeah,
ngayon,
yeah.
iba na yung sentiment kasi alam nila may market yung rock and roll.
Yung
So I think
sa
that's a
yeah,
big difference.
I kind of dwelled on this a little bit. Ang na-realize ko ito kasi it's so different like before, for example, if I want to, if it's a Monday, tapos high school ka, and you want to watch a band on a Friday, you go to the bar and check out their poster.
Yeah.
Correct? You check out the poster, walang ano yan, walang taste test yan kasi wala namang YouTube eh.
Oh, walang
So you
audition,
risk
walang
it.
audition yun. Oh, walang
Yeah,
audition.
so you risk going there whether you are you going to like it or not, but you're there. So it's more in your face, kaharap mo yung banda that you were checking a few weeks ago. Mas kumakalat siya by word.
Oo.
Kumakalat siya by word. Then, you decide the next day if you like them, and if they have an album, you buy it.
Yeah.
Correct? So, it's really very organic before. It may be in a smaller scale, pero people were there. People were there. Ngayon, sometimes I see some friend will tell me, will introduce me to this guy. Sabi niya, the sikat sila, they have 13,000 followers, etc. So I'm talking to a famous guy supposedly who I've never heard before, na yung friends ko, they've never heard this guy before, pero sikat siya, apparently. Right?
It's
So
weird,
it's so
no?
different.
It's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's so weird.
So ako sa akin, I don't know if it's my age or dahil ano, pero yung classic way before that people would actually go to the bar, kahit sarado, just to check out the posters who go to play sa Friday, somehow it's still better para sa akin.
Yeah. Iba yung
You know?
iba yung word of mouth kasi pag when you back in the day when you look at the poster and then the first time you experience a band is live, you like you said
Yeah.
walang taste test, 'di ba? Parang so
Walang taste test, right? Walang taste test.
napaka raw yung experience. Napaka raw
Yeah.
ng first experience mo with the band. And if you like them and you go back the
Yeah.
next weekend, tapos may nakita kang bagong tao, bagong crowd, bagong mga members ng tribe mo, 'di ba? You know that this guy also discovered
Likes it.
the band
Yes.
that you like in the same way. It's
Yeah,
not
that's true.
it's not the faceless, oh, I have 13,000 followers. Yeah, but do you know their names?
Yeah.
Dati iba eh. Yung tribo
Iba siya.
mo, 'di ba yung tribo mo
Iba.
dati, yung regular crowd mo, kilala mo lahat sila eh. 'Di
Yeah,
ba?
true.
Kasi
And you
the
see
discovery was organic.
Maaring hindi mo nga siya kilala, but ikaw yung guy hapon na binato yung lalagyan ng tissue somewhere. You know?
Oh.
Ganun dati. So,
ikaw yung bumublobay sa
ito yung thing
banyo, 'di
dyan.
ba?
Oo, di ba? Or ikaw yung sumasayaw weird, parang si Deloper ka sumayaw. You know? So sa akin, ganito. Wherein I do appreciate the ease of doing business now kasi mas mabilis eh.
Yeah.
Right? Pero I do miss the passion and I wish, may part sa akin, I wish that I were already in a band at that time. Diba? Parang gano'n eh. Parang gano'n siya. I was in a band pero we never played live. At saka yung mystery really goes out the window lately. Kasi before, for example, tutugtog ang Sandwich, newly formed pa, si Abaya pa yung singer. Right? Tutugtog sila sa Peps. Ganyan. Tapos may front act sila. Mas ang tanong mo sa front act, how did you get this gig? Talagang mysterious. Paano mo nakuha to? You know, it was so mysterious.
Sino kayo and how did you
diba?
get this?
Sikat na ba kayo? Alam mo gano'n? Are you, unti-unti ba? Are you going to make it? May ganyang mystery. Ngayon, alam mo na eh. Kasi nakita ka sa YouTube. Alam mo yun? So, accessibility is better now, I think. Pero, in terms of passion for rock and roll and stuff like that, whether rock and roll or metal or grunge or ano, in terms of yung organic feeling na talagang nandun ka. I mean, imagine this, wala namang social media, pero Peps was packed.
Yeah.
Packed siya. Tapos,
wala pang social media and you'd go to Cali every Saturday night.
Yeah, Cali, right?
And it was packed.
Tapos, the way it spreads, kasi ngayon, yung word of mouth nila, caption eh. Galing yung banda, blah, blah, blah. Then may video sa baba, right? Dati, ikikwento sa'yo yung kapitbahay mo gaano nakakatawa yung parokya ni Edward. You know? And you will
Correct.
live off that
That
conversation.
experience. Yeah.
Tapos manunod ka na next week. Right? Ibang-iba. I mean, I remember dati, nanood ako sa Red Lion Pub, bottom line, naging ganyan siya. And yung tumugtog is backdraft. Diba? Backdraft. Wala naman social media, pero it was packed. It was freaking packed. Ngayon, may social media and everything, pero bakit hindi siya mapack? Kasi,
True.
I think, sa akin lang baka may magalit yun, pero the idea that you can get a taste test before watching them live made the experience cheaper.
I agree.
Parang gano'n. Yun yung,
I agree.
like, I remember how much of an enigma Cookie Chewer was. Right? As in, pag kinikwento nila, itong, stuff like that. Tapos kayo manonood,
Parating may emperador sa bag
oh,
niya,
lakas uminom, pero hindi siya lasing, mga ganyang mysteries. So you end up watching the experience and you enjoy it without the noise of YouTube and hype ng Facebook advertisements. So it was very different. So ako,
I think it was a more organic introduction.
Yeah, very organic.
It was a more and I think a more personal introduction, because
Personal, very personal.
you're not influenced by, like in social media now, you're not influenced by the influencers. Oh, I have 13,000 followers. I have
makita mo
so this.
Yeah. May makita mo likes. Diba, ganun yun eh. But they're great pa. Nakakita na ako ng banda. 4 likes lang yung videos nila. I won't say the band. Pero nung pinanood ko, they were amazing. Yun. I mean, they belted out Queen and Guns N' Roses covers. Ang ganda.
Yeah. Hayop, that's not easy to play.
Hayop, yeah. Oh, that's not
and
easy
that's
to play.
and that's certainly not easy to sing either.
Yeah, not easy to play, not easy to sing, alam mo yun. So, it was so different before. Before kasi, kunwari, may tumugtog ng Queen. Tapos sabihin sa'yo ng classmate mo, pare, may napanood akong banda, kaya yung Queen. Right? So, manonood ka. So, you're there.
Kasi very, very rare yun eh. Biglang, may nag-Queen? Papanoorin mo na talaga.
Papanoorin mo siya. Pag may nagsabi na, na itong guy na to, kuha niya yung lead solo ng ganito, talaga, you'll watch it eh. Pupunta ka next week. Hindi yung titignan mo muna sa YouTube. Kung kailan pangit yung audio kasi kinuha lang sa so that, I think that's the pros and cons of today and before. Pero maybe I'm just old.
Hey, if you're old, Mike, if you're old, what am I? Okay, let's not go with age. Okay, I think it's a matter of taste. Because discovering bands now is so easy if you know who to look for or what to look for. Because
that's also true.
We're stuck at home. We have internet access, and that's how we discover it. But then that's what I've been realizing also, especially throughout this pandemic, when we've been stuck at home. It's easy to discover music if you know what to search for, and what you search for is defined by your search terms. So pero ibang-iba yung search terms based on your knowledge or your creativity or your research.
That's true.
At iba rin yung word of mouth na galing sa kaibigan mo na sabi niya, pare, hayop tong bandan to eh. Punta ka sa gig.
That's true.
Iba yun eh. Because that's a personal recommendation, and you trust this guy, kaibigan mo siya. Kung sinabi niya hayop, sige, punta ako. And that form of discovery, with the bands that we grew up with in the 90s, that form of discovery, I think would last longer. Kasi yung attention span ngayon, and I'm not dissing the internet, the millennials or the internet generation, because you guys are doing fantastic things. But there's a like what Mike said, the romanticism and the mystery of pure discovery, because it's pure it's word of mouth. Sinabihan ka ng kaibigan mo, pupunta ka dito, nagiinom mo kayo, naglo-load up kayo ng Red Horse, tapos hayop yung banda, and it's immediate.
It's immediate yung how their faces glow up, nasabi na pare hayop to, tangina na kailangan mo to, versus a simple like thumbs up.
Yes.
So different.
I agree. And what's nice about it is I think we know going through this pandemic together. I mean, we've all been stuck at home for a little bit over a year, no?
Yeah, over here.
So nararamdaman ko rin na pagbalik ng normal times, pagtapos na yung pandemic, lahat tayo na vaccinate, we can go out and we can gather again. Napaka-excited ako to see how being stuck at home for 1 year has changed our
Energized.
behavior. 'Di ba? Has changed our behavior. Kasi dati, 'di ba,
Hmm.
like before the pandemic, gimmick tayo. Hindi, okay lang, dito lang ako sa bahay, 'di ba? Eh ngayon, pagkatapos
Yeah,
ng pandemic, lahat tayo magiging atat lumabas.
yeah,
At
giyang.
manood ng, 'di ba, giyan tayo lahat, manood ng gig, uminom ng beer, may kasama tayo sa bar, lakas yung sounds, hindi mo ma-turn off, hindi mo ma-pause, hindi mo ma-like, 'di ba? Nandun tayo live eh. You know?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how this pandemic has changed our social behavior once we're able to get
Wow,
out
that's
and
very good.
play again.
That's very good. That's a very good That's a very good insight. Ako, I like it.
'Di
I
ba
like it.
yung
Tama.
dati,
Yeah.
tara kain tayo sa labas. Hindi, okay lang. Pero ngayon, since na-lock up tayo, na-lockdown tayo sa bahay, every invitation, pag pwede na tayo lumabas, kukunin ko, pare.
Yeah, and
'Di
maybe
ba?
they'll come earlier now. 'Di ba?
Yeah.
Agahan na nila pumunta. Kasi dati literal. 7 o'clock means 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock means 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Ngayong pandemic, nasanay ka sa curfew, right? So
Oo.
load ka talaga ng maaga. Check them out.
It also makes me wonder, like now that we're going through, we have a curfew now, no, because of the quarantine, di ba? I can't help but think when the few times that we got to hang out with, I was in a band with Jun Lupito. I would talk to Pepe
Yeah.
Smith also, and the rest of the '70s generation. When martial law was declared and they had curfews, yung mga work around nila sa mga curfew, hayop eh, maaga yung gigs. Tapos kung maabutan sila ng curfew, magiging sleepover na. Walang kasi you can't be on the road
Takbuhan
eh.
eh. Takbuhan na.
Oo.
Yeah,
Hindi kung hindi ka
takbuhan
kung
na.
kung hindi takbuhan na kasi sobrang good time to, tuloy-tuloy na lang hanggang
Tuloy
the
yung
next
set.
day.
Okay.
Tuloy-tuloy yung set, pare. So nagkikwentuhan sila na minsan nasa stuck sila sa bar. Kailangan isarado yung bar.
Hindi
So
makalabas.
isisarado nila yung bar,
Wow.
yung crowd,
Saya
tsaka
Overnight na
yung
yung gig.
overnight na yung gig, tapos lahat kayo, you're all feeling the same collective vibes kasi hindi tayo makakauwi. Eh nandito tayo sa loob ng bar. Inuman na lang tayo, tugtog na lang tayo,
Tsaka,
tuloy.
how fun is that being stuck with Pepe Smith tapos
Sarap
yung mga
nun.
sinasabi niya?
Right? In the '70s, you're stuck in a bar with Pepe Smith, nakakadena yung bar, nakasarado na yung bar, tapos tuloy-tuloy yung tugtugan, tapos matutulog na kayo sa sahig, or Cecilia, or hindi na kayo matutulog, di ba? Tuloy-tuloy na lang yung gig.
Sayang wala si Brian ngayon kasi expert yung matulog sa sahig eh. As in,
I was
expert
actually
level.
looking
Expert
forward
level.
to the missing member of this band is the bass player Brian, and for you guys who are listening out there, he is so much fun to watch. When you watch videos of these guys, pare agaw mata si Brian eh, nanga-upstage.
Sobra.
Nanga-upstage si Brian eh. Yan. So since he's not here, let's talk about Brian.
Sige.
Sa replay na lang siya
Sure.
magka-catch up. So paano? So Brian was part. So Brian was part of Timog. So na-recruit mo to Black Wolf Gypsies.
We collectively decided.
Did he always dress like that? Because if you watch your
No.
video,
Before siya, kasi dati makapal pa buhok ni Brian eh. We used to have the same hair talagang hanggang elbows and stuff like that. So dati para kaming long hair band. Kasi June at that time, mulit eh. Siya dati, punk, punk sa taas tapos sa party sa baba. Tapos
parang si Captain Planet.
Captain Planet. Ganyan si June dati.
Yung buhok.
So before that Chaleco thing was mine. Kasi gusto ko yung mga Jun Lupito, gusto ko yung mga Wally Gonzalez get up. Before ganoon. Tapos nag-usap kami ni Brian. Sabi ko,
Chaleco
suot.
talaga ang
So,
term natin, no? Chaleco talaga ang term.
Chaleco.
Uh,
Oh.
for the
Hindi
young
best,
ones,
hindi best.
for the young ones out
It's
there,
best.
can you please explain what a chaleco is? Kasi baka hindi nila yan.
Yun.
It's the thing you wear underneath the coat. Yeah.
So it's a
So
vest.
Brian, it's a vest. So Brian one time
Vest.
thought of just simply not wearing anything but vest. Tapos when he started balding, kumuha siya ng parang security guard hat. Tapos of course, influence rin ni Yocano of Gin Rum and Truth. Yung naka-shades lagi. Na-influence. Kasi yung naka-aviators and stuff like that. Gusto ni Brian yan eh. So, when he started wearing those things, nakita namin, parang ito yung totoong ikaw, Brian. Ano,
Na-unlock,
and he,
na-unlock niya yung
na-unlock,
level.
Na-unlock niya yung level. So na-realize niya yun. Tapos, all of us were saying na, tangina, yan yung look.
Every gig namin, yun yung suot niya, chaleco, walang labahan.
Walang labahan. Oo.
Pare,
3
yan ang
days
rock and
yun.
roll. Yan ang rock and roll. Walang labahan
roll.
yan, pare.
Pero ano yan?
Side A, side B, okay na yun.
After naging amoy mo yung chaleco, okay na.
Oo.
Solve ka na.
Solve ka na. Oh. Hi nga pala kay Andre. My brother-in-law is here with me drinking.
Nice. Cheers guys. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Ang daming comments na nagpapa-shoutout. So, shoutout lang tayo, Jose. Yeah, but you're on your phone kasi. Sa laptop siya lumalabas eh. So, shoutout tayo, Jose Vaquer. Mike Twain, what's up? From Melbourne, Oz. Ito, may comment siya. Mike Twain, do you remember Fat Tuesdays? 1998, Carl Roy with green hair. Oh.
Yeah.
Yan. Nagsisilabasan na. I know. Carl was, and you know, and that, again, that adds another element of danger. That's why I love rock and roll, because there's always an element of danger. Because Carl Roy is a good example of, you don't know what the hell he's going to do when he's on stage. And I love that dangerous element. Johnny Strums is saying hello. Uy, si Bry Sabath. Happy birthday,
Johnny.
Bry. Kaka-birthday lang
Johnny
yan,
na whiskey version.
Yeah, baby.
Hi, Bry.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Kaya blonde buhok natin nung college. Ayan. Dami nang naglalaglagan na eh. We have a comment from my wife, Gold Soon, is watching the show tonight. So, and she's a big rock and roll fan. She's a big Razorback fan. Sabi niya, for me also, rock and music should be experienced live first.
Yes.
Iba yung energy nung nasa gig ka. Tama. I totally agree. There's nothing like a live gig. You know, I always had this theory na parang yung mga recordings mo, yung mga album nyo, yan yung take home mo sa gig eh. Pero dapat mauna yung gig.
Mauna live,
Tapos kung nagustuhan mo yung mga kanta, bumili ka ng album.
Yeah, we experience them through albums.
Yeah, and then you can listen to the album, and that will keep you happy until the next gig. Kasi yung gig yung point eh. That's why I can't wait for this pandemic to be over. I think that there's going to be parang a renaissance of music and art.
Sana.
Pero ngayon, di ba parang advantage rin yung meron kang Spotify. Pag narinig na yung kantang Spotify, nagustuhan ka, tapos saka ka pupuntahan sa gig.
Nag-iba siya eh. I think, sa akin, Jun, nag-iba siya eh. Kasi before, watch them live, and if you like them, buy the album. Ngayon, listen to them, and if hindi naramdaman yung energy, wag ka bumili. The disadvantage there is ang daming banda na mas magaling sa live.
Yes,
you know,
agreed.
Ang daming banda. I can tell, so ako masasabi ko, Wolfgang Razorback is one of those bands. Magaling sila sa recording, pero pag nakita mo sila live, it's really electrifying.
Mas iba.
Yeah. Kahit Juan de la Cruz eh. I remember before, nanonood kami nila to ng Juan de la Cruz, and yung power ni Wally Gonzalez and how he wields that guitar, yung recording doesn't give him justice. Live talaga. Pag narinig mo live, talaga
kahit si Pepe, di ba? Nung mga last days niya. Kahit medyo ngungo na siya. Rock and roll pa rin, di ba? Parang...
Pepe's living rock and roll yan, pare. For me, hindi ko matanggap na nawala na si Pepe. So para sa akin, nandito pa rin si Pepe in spirit, and I bet may theory ako na finake niya yung death niya eh. Nakidnap siya ng aliens. Umuwi lang siya eh. Alien talaga yan si Pepe eh.
Babalik
Dinala
si
siya sa
Pepe.
Alien
Baguio.
talaga
Kunya,
siya.
kunyari lang, oh.
Nagtatagulo sa
kunwari
Baguio,
lang.
no? Yeah.
Nandun lang sa Baguio, tapos kinidnap siya ng aliens. Umuwi ka na dito. Yap, sali ka.
At saka
Sinundo
ano,
siya ng mga alien.
Dito ka muna.
hindi mo maririnig yung mga spills nila na napakasarap sa recording.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think one of the best people na magaling sa spills is si Kevin Roy, I would say. Kevin Roy ang galing sa spills, you know. And that's part of the art form. Right? Si Kevin Roy, Pepe Smith, si Dodong Cruz. Early days Dodong Cruz, ang galing niyan sa
Correct.
spills. Yeah.
Correct.
Nakakatawa talaga sila. And you don't get that from simply watching YouTube na pinindot na lang nila yung play nung nag-start. 1, 2, 3.
Iba pa rin yung
diba?
live. Iba pa rin yung live.
Iba talaga. So,
At saka yung
I
maganda,
think,
yung maganda sa live kasi nag-feed off ka rin as a performer. You feed off the energy of the audience also.
yeah, that's true. Kaya ano sa
So,
akin,
I mean,
mas,
I've seen Pepe play, at gigs. Yung may NU107 gig na siya eh. Nung kakalabas lang niya sa kulungan, atat siya tumugtog. Pero 3 hours yung set niya, 2 kanta lang niya nakanta niya kasi purong kwento. Kasi parang ang sarap ng batuhan niya with the audience. And none of us were even requesting songs and all that. We were basically, imagine a crowded bar and you're making kwento and Pepe Smith is on stage and you're making kwento with Pepe Smith. Just because he missed that whole energy. And at the end of the night, we nung tapos na yung gig, na-realize namin, putang na, 2 lang yung kantang tinutog niya. Pero lahat tayo entertained. And
hibig natin sa kabalong malalim.
That's Pepe Smith. No, actually he sang Rock and Roll sa Mundo.
Ako I remember this joke by Pepe Smith. Tangina, hindi ko malilimutan nun. Hanggang ngayon, pag nag-iinuman kami, kinukwento ko to eh. Sabi niya, magandang gabi, ako si Pepe Smith. Pepe Myth. Tinagal ko na yung S sa buhay ko.
That's such a yes. wala nang S.
That was so nice.
And what did we all do? We all would be like, tangina hayop, that's Pepe. And and you can only get the energy like that at a live gig. But the challenge is, I think, but the challenge is, I think, like for example, we love our live gigs and experiencing music live. And I think the challenge for every musician or every performer is to recreate that energy in the studio.
Yeah, totoo. That's true.
When you
translate properly.
Sana, di ba? Especially with such, hard and heavy rock like you guys play. I want to discuss lang the challenges you had or what the process was when you did Biyahe and when you did Manhid, when you guys went to the studio. What was that like?
Okay, Manhid was our attempt na mas maging mainstream na konti. We wanted it rock and roll, kaya maingay yung gitara. Pero our approach there was medyo e-heads. If you listen to it, medyo e-heads siya more than
sa Manhid na song.
Sa Manhid.
Okay.
And of course, we loved it. We loved the close na kasama namin yung mga, kasi yung mga tao sa music video, they are really good friends. Si Rania, si Mean, si Ina, Ina. So it was fun. But it was very clean. Too clean for us. The best representation ng banda namin was actually Biyahe. So I don't know if we played it wrong or right, pero it doesn't matter sa amin. We just like to play. So yung Biyahe is more of who we are. If you watch us live, mas Biyahe kami than Manhid.
I agree because I was saying, when I was watching your videos online, and I still discovered some of the videos from your previous label, right? And I'm like, and then when I listened to Manhid bigla, I'm like, parang they tried to go in a direction.
Yeah, that's true.
It was parang may somebody made a decision here that of course I didn't want to assume who made the decision as I was watching until I spoke to you guys, until I'm talking to you now. But yeah, I do believe that Biyahe
so
is Biyahe, Biyahe and Manhid are two different songs but it's always, I feel like, kasi, when you find your sound, right, and you're at home with your sound, and many artists are living testaments to experimentation, to discovery, to creative license. I mean, if you listen to all the albums, I can't listen to all the albums of Pink Floyd. I love
Yeah,
Dark Side of
understood.
the
Yeah,
Moon, but I
yeah,
cannot
understood.
understand Atom Heart Mother or
Understood. Yeah,
Umaguma. I'm like, ha, ano to? 'Di ba?
yeah, understood. Yeah,
So, but with the experimentation, I think that was a brave step in turning, hey, can we sound like this? Sometimes kasi you make mistakes or you make a
yeah.
decision and then you realize, hindi tayo yun eh. Balik tayo dito.
Hmm.
You know?
Ano yan, prior to Manhid, we actually released a music video called Laundryman.
Yes,
Was
yes,
which
that's
was
heavy guts, man.
Yeah, heavy cut siya, right? Yung biyahe, we don't regret it kasi a big part of us is still Eraserheads.
Yeah.
We're mostly Led
Yung
Zeppelin
manhid you
and
mean,
Yung
yung
manhid, yung
Radiohead.
manhid.
manhid. Yung
Yeah,
manhid, yung
so
medyo
yeah,
heads.
yun, Manhid. So we're mainly Led Zepp, AC/DC type of band. Pero
Yeah.
yung Manhid is still a big part of us kasi it was a collaboration of yung guitars, so hindi naman namin siya tinone down. Like maingay pa rin siya, but the lyrics and the way we sang it was more of Eraserhead. And it was I think, but we still love the song. It's
Yeah,
still okay. And,
it's a good song.
yeah,
It's a good song. It's just that, it's
it doesn't
funny
represent
when,
us, you know? It doesn't represent
well,
us
I
fully.
think I
More
think
than,
it represents a side of you.
mm,
And you should never, as an artist, your one of your responsibilities or your duties
mm.
is to keep it exploring new territory. If you stay comfortable in where you are, that's how you grow stagnant. You know
That's
what I
true.
mean?
That's true.
So
Hmm.
Or
if
you,
you're going to
or you just get
explore,
better at it.
yeah,
Or
or
you just
you
get
just get
better at it.
better at it. I mean,
Yeah.
ACDC has never changed their sound, and their latest album kicks ass.
They just keep getting better, no?
Hmm.
Yeah, but it's great to
Easily.
still. I'm a firm believer in trying to experiment with different styles. I think it's still. I think Manhid is a still representational of a side of Black Wolf Gypsies.
That's true.
In
That's true.
terms of, say, your influences or a tribute to your heroes or a conscious decision to, you know what, I want to write a song like this, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Because it still comes from you. You still wrote it, and you're still playing on it, and it was a
I think
decision.
I think there's nothing wrong with it in terms of well, it's not a sin, right? It's not a
No,
sin, but if
it's not like all of a sudden tumunog kayong Justin Bieber.
yeah,
That would
that's
be
true.
that would be, 'di ba? Oh, natawa si June, no? Mag-dolphin dive na 'yan. That would be an extreme departure of not just your sound, because a sound is something that you can play with it, but your identity,
Pero
you
ako
know.
I would say that Manhid was such a conscious decision on showing another side of us. I don't
Yes.
regret it, pero
Yes,
may
I
part sa
agree.
akin it was really mainstream. I would say it's really mainstream. It's not how we are live. It's how we are live minsan, sobrang minsan lang.
Yeah.
But we love it. We love it. We love the process. We love the making of the music video. Marami kami natutunan doon. Pero kasi after nung One Head, we suddenly decided na ano, alam mo yun, we're sort of hermits eh. Hermits sa music scene. So might as well play it the way you really, really, really want it. Naging gano'n kami bigla eh. It's probably age. I'm not saying age na literal na
You
years of
you keep on going back to age, pare.
Okay,
Nag-away tayo.
sorry.
O
It's
talaga
ano,
eh.
it's parang kasi sa totoo lang ito. Nagkaroon ka namin ng part na parang maybe we should start lessening or lessen yung giving a fuck
Yes.
and just do what we do. Parang
Yes.
ganon.
Do what you want to do. I think
Yeah, and that's
that's the
the
best
key,
thing to do
right?
as an artist. That's the key. You got to do what you got to do,
Hmm.
and whether it succeeds or fails, if people
Yeah,
like it or
doesn't
not,
matter.
if you like it, that's the whole point. Because if you're going to go into, being in a band for 10 years, and writing music, and if you worry about what other people think, then you're
It's
never going to
going to
get
be the death of
anywhere.
you. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
going to be the death of
you're
you.
never gonna get anywhere, and you're
A
never gonna
friend of
have
mine,
an identity of your own.
who's really into grunge, si Getty. I mean, yung musical ano niya is really maganda yung spectrum niya. Pero rock siya mainly. It was the birthday of my daughter. So we celebrated it sa house ng in-laws ko kasi I'm separated and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
we had to celebrate it sa house ng in-laws ko para neutral ground, you know. And this guy is so insightful. That's the first thing that he told me. Na manhead is like 30% of you. It's not
Interesting.
the yeah, so ano
Dahil sila yung Mike, kaya nga manhid eh. Parang ganun eh. Parang,
Oh,
kaya nga naman hid di ba? Parang ganun.
kaya nga manhid
So
eh.
so
Hindi lang alam. Parang manhid.
pero it was so refreshing kasi creatively yung music video was so fun. Ang sarap niya gawin. We were collaborating with friends. Tapos it was such a nice environment na everybody was just playing around with the idea of how are we going to make this dynamic na, you know, this how it is. Parang ganyan. Pero I'm proud of it all. I'm proud of Laundryman. I'm proud of Manhid. I'm proud of, especially now, I'm proud of Biyahe. Right? So yun. So I think as we progress, more and more we are tagal no? Mahigit 10 years. Pero tip of the iceberg of what you can do artistically as a hard rock band. Hindi as
yeah.
so we're enjoying it now more than anything. Ako actually ang totoo nga niyan before kasi syempre may dreams ko of sumikat, you know. May dreams ka na ganyan right? Younger days. Pero to be honest with you, medyo nawala na sa amin We just want to put out good material out there and play. Nawala na talaga.
Something you can be proud of, and something that
Yeah,
will be fun. Something that'll be fun to do.
proud of, be yourself, tapos nag-enjoy na lang kami sa katangahan namin, you know. So it sort of became like that.
And I think that's the purest form. I mean, a lot of people, I have met quite a few people or a few artists who whose goal was to become famous, not to put out good work. And some of them made it, doing that, but they're not happy. Some of them didn't
Yeah,
make it.
that's true.
Some of
That's
them
true.
didn't make it, but they were happy because they were happy doing what they love to do. And I think that's the
Yeah,
whole
that's
point.
true.
If there's anything that's been so important, especially during this pandemic, is that you have to find the things that make you happy.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Ang
And
totoo
because
nga yan,
at the end of the day, that's what you're going to be left with. You
Tsaka
know?
ano nga despite of the pandemic, I think people should just start to, sa music scene lalo na, they should start doing what they love to. Ako we have this friends like si Jimmy Bonert ng Mad Love Misery and sila Yoctano ng Gin Ram and Truth. Whenever we talk, mas importante talaga sa kanila yung happiness nila than commercial success. And
Nalala ko
Yeah,
sabi akin
diba?
ni Mike, ni Yok. Sabi sa akin ni Yok, madali lang sumikat Jun Madali lang sumikat. Gusto mo,
Maglabas ka ng Justin Bieber tayo.
Kumain ka ng tayo, tapos video mo sarili mo. Parang ganun, sabi niya. Pero gusto mo ba yun? Sabi sa akin ni Yok. Parang ganun, di ba?
So na-realize ko, the only way to go really is to do what makes you happy. Tapos if the world doesn't like it, sa maliit na world natin sa Philippines,
it's okay.
So ganun. Yeah.
So
what matters most? What matters most is your happiness, I think.
Yeah, and
if you're doing, and I think there are enough examples of, artists and bands out there that have stuck to their guns and do what they love to do and actually enjoyed commercial success simply because they were doing what they love to do.
Yeah, that's true. And some people are lucky enough that what they want to do is relatively mainstream, right? For example, I'm sure I am not sure, of course, pero I'm just assuming that people like Rico Blanco is enjoying his success, but he did what he wanted to do.
Yes.
Right? At nagkataon, that's what the masses prefer.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's great kasi ganda naman talaga.
That's great because,
naman
things worked out. Things worked out. That's great.
Now, in case things don't work out, your life is more than being famous. Eh.
I agree.
Diba? It goes beyond just being famous. It's being comfortable with your skin, excited ka gumising araw-araw. Alam mo yun. So, sa case namin, that's what we're aiming for. Kami hindi kami titigil tumugtog as long as it's still fun. If it stops being fun, we'll stop. Yun lang.
And that's exactly what I've been telling myself all my life. If it stops being fun, get the fuck out of
You
there.
stop it.
Yeah.
Because,
Ah,
it should be fun. It's the whole point of doing something. It should be
ano mo,
fun. If you're not having fun, why the hell are you doing it?
Yeah.
yeah. And the happiness goes beyond yung goes beyond yung um appreciation of other people sa'yo.
Hmm.
Diba? It should go beyond that. Eh. Sa amin, it doesn't matter anymore. Eh. Sa amin lang, we want to put our best na kaya namin and it's fun. Tapos pag tumugtog kami, we want to be live anyway. We want to be extraordinary sa ginagawa namin. And yun yung gist nun sa amin. That's it. Never naman kami nagkapera talaga sa banda eh. Nagkapera pa ako play corporate stuff.
Well, I've been
Yes.
like I belong to the world of musical theater and theater in general, and I also play in a band. And
How,
I've always had to get another job so I can afford being in a band.
yeah,
I always
that's
had to
true.
get another job so I can afford doing theater. So basically, you do what you need to do so you can do what you want to do. You
Yeah,
know,
that's true.
and
Ano nga eh,
it's great if it works for you and you're doing what you love and it pays you well. That's great. I mean,
ano
nobody's
nga siya
gonna
eh.
fault you for that, diba? That's good for
Yeah,
you. But
yeah, that's good for
it's
you.
not the end all be all. A lot of people are, well, especially nowadays, a lot of people are worried about money, making ends meet. Being able to pay your bills, being able to feed your family, and all that. But that shouldn't come. There should be some sort of balance between that survival mode and when
Yeah,
you're really living.
yeah,
Because
that's
if we
true.
lose sight of what we what's worth living for, like for
Yeah,
me, it's going to experiencing live art. I love going to watch a play. I love going to watch a band, and that's what's keeping me going and keeping me hopeful during this pandemic. That when it's all over, makakabalik tayo doon at tangin na hayop siguro yung mga shows na pupuntahan natin.
yeah, I'm sure.
And at the end
Siguro
of the
yung mga
day,
siguro yung mga unang gigs sira kaagad yung gamit, no? Sobrang gigil na.
dude, okay,
Oh
it's
man,
funny. It's funny you say that, June, kasi nag acoustic gig ako kasama ko si Nino Mendoza ng Blue Jean Junkies
Sinino, yeah.
sa nung
Hi
last
Nino, are you
November.
there?
Last
Okay.
November sa La Colina, nag-acoustic gig kami. First gig namin since the pandemic happened, di ba? Para yung unang kanta. Sa sobra naming, gigil kami, hindi kami nag-connect. Gitara lang tsaka vocals yun, ah. Gitara lang tsaka vocals. Sympathy for the Devil pa yung opening song namin ng Rolling
Ah, I love
Stones.
that song.
At hindi kami nag-connect kasi sobra namin. As in, wow, gigil kasi pare may tao,
Oh.
pare gig, pare
May
live, di
audience
ba?
oh.
And then after the first song, nagbulungan kami ni Nino. Pare, umayos tayo. Kasi dalawang set to eh. Dalawang set, hindi pwede tayo hindi kabit sa dalawang set. Okay lang yung gigil sa first song, pero ayusin natin yung second song, ha? Pero ang saya ng
Okay,
feeling, and I can't wait for all of us to come back to that feeling. I wanna,
Yun nga
when the pandemic is over, I wanna go back. I wanna watch you guys in a bar. I wanna get really drunk and experience your brand of rock and roll live because that's what it's all about. That
Alam
for
ko,
me
Jamie,
is
dapat
what makes it
magkakasabay
fun.
tayo eh.
Saan?
Di ba, bago mag-pandemic, tapos parang May
Oh,
tour yata
tama.
ang
That's right. Yung Stellar Gigs.
Tindog.
Correct.
yeah,
Saka
Stellar.
And
Stellar.
naudlot tayo kasi palapit na yung lockdown. It was right, yung gig natin, it was right before the
Yeah,
lockdown dapat.
Sabi ko, yun na
pero
yun
if,
eh. Sabi,
Oo,
sarap
pero
yun na
ano,
sana.
yun. Tangin ng pandemic to.
if the pandemic was handled properly, I don't need to be political. Walang political to. Pero if the pandemic was handled properly, tapos nasagig na tayo after a few months, ang saya nun. That's all I can say. Ang saya ng mga gig.
First
Wild
round.
yan, wild.
Basta first round, sagot ko. You know, when
Second
we
round,
get
sagot
back
ko.
out
Second
there.
round, sagot.
Sige.
Second round, sagot ko.
Tapos yung third round, si Brian
Pero,
kasi wala siya dito eh.
pero ang malupit
Ano siya
nun,
para.
ang malupit nun, pag bumalik yung gig, yung chaleco ni Brian, di pa rin niya nilalaban from last, before pandemic.
Pare, yung chaleco ni Brian, dalawa yan. I made sure dalawa yan. Kasi galing sa akin yun eh. Kasi yung dati ako yung nagchachaleco eh. Parang he carries it better eh.
Pag
He carries
naamoy
it
mo yung
better.
Jamie,
So,
solved ka na talaga.
Hindi, okay lang ako pare. Okay lang ako, thank you. Si Raya Del Rosario, shower out daw. Shower out. Yun. Yeah, si Nan, nagsasabi nga, Blue Jean Junkies in the Big Dog Door. Yeah. That
sarap.
that was another pandemic casualty right there. You know, we had such big plans. But you know what?
Pare
I think
si
there's
Dog
still
something else rin.
I know. I love those guys. And you know,
And,
if you look at them, parang they can play anything eh. I mean, tignan mo yung lineup.
and you got Cowboy to come out of his
Grabe.
house.
Yes, you got
You got
Cowboy to come
Cowboy.
out of his house.
Di
ba?
Si Pogi, pare ano yung nakakatawa yan? Kasi nung high school ako, he used to drive this L300 eh. At that time, he was really skinny, tapos nakahat lang, tapos nag-UMC. Pag dumaan niya ng high school namin, which is Pinoy Montessori, yung mga classmates ko nagsisigawan mo. Nagsisigawan sila. Tangin na mo Cowboy, wala gano'n. That guy. Tapos, ano naman siya eh, di ba? At that time, wala naman siyang banda talaga eh, di ba?
Oo.
Pero local celebrity siya sa South Cali.
Well, Cowboy's always been a local celebrity. I mean, it's not fair. You know, when you go in all the bands that I've seen. Sorry, Cowboy. We're gonna make you laglag. We're gonna bitch about you. It's not
Cowboy,
fair.
sorry.
It's not fair for a guy like that, Cowboy Santos, for a guy like that to be, to be as talented as he is, because he's a fucking amazing guitar player, and then he sings.
Yeah.
And then already he's rock, and then he's guapo pa. And then he's rock royalty pa. And then when you meet him, sobra niyang bait tsaka magalang. Sabi ko, pare, unfair yan ha.
When I was in high school, I went to his studio, Cosmic Cow.
Oh.
Right? And he was there and we were talking. Sabi ko, sayang nga nagsara yung Bottom Line or Red Lion pub. Same pub. Nagkabilang na pangalan. And it says, ito yung gamit doon.
Yan pala yun?
Oh, yeah. I don't know that guy. Sobrang bait lang niya pala. Bait niya ng cool na...
Yeah, he's a nice guy pa. So it's so unfair to us mere mortals who are trying so hard. And then you see a guy like
Zeus,
Cowboy walk in, diba? And the beauty about Cowboy is that, I love how he plays. He has stage presence, he performs, but how he plays technically is so good. And the worst part is, he makes it look easy eh.
Sobra.
Diyan ako napipikon kay Cowboy. Parang andali lang para sa'yo eh. Lefty ka pa.
Si Cowboy, that's the name I used nung gumawa ko ng article for him. Lefty, parang Cowboy, mas lefty, right? Pero si Cowboy nakakaaliw kasi right now, relatively, mas refined na siya than how he was eh. Right? Dati Sando, di ba? Ganyan. Pero man, tayo na nung Sando type ka pa. Tapos yung mga classmates ko nung high school, pinagkakaguluhan ka na, my God, nakakainis.
Diba?
Yeah.
So but then when you meet him, naiinis ka, pero you can't help but love him kasi
I love him. I love that guy.
Bait mo, ang cool mo.
Nainis ka, no?
So unfair.
Nainis ka. Pero nakita mo ng personal, Cowboy, pa-picture naman.
Oo, pare. Pare ako, every time I ask Cowboy for a fucking picture, I realize how short I am. Kasi he has the height, di ba? So, para kang baby na nagka-picture sa kanya with a beard and all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So we're going into the part of our show now. We call the rundown. All right.
Okay.
Because I don't want to dwell on this because we're gonna make laglag Cowboy the whole night. Kawawa naman eh.
Yeah.
You know. So we're gonna go into the rundown where I'm gonna ask you guys 10 questions, one question at a time, and just answer it with the first thing that comes to your mind. No need to explain it. Okay. So June, let's start with you, huh? Right. June, ano yung favorite word mo?
All right.
Alright.
Alright.
Ikaw, Mike, ano yung favorite word mo?
All right. Fucking the same. I mean, we're all about all right.
Kabanda nga kayo. Okay, what is your least favorite word? Ano yung word na pinaka-hate niyo? June, ikaw.
Pinaka-hate ko yung nagugutom.
Nagugutom.
Ayokong magutom.
Tama.
Yeah.
Very good. Ako rin. Ikaw, Mike.
Ako, I have no idea what kasi sa akin, language has always been a very important part of my mindset or kung ano man ako. So I don't really have least favorite word. I don't have one.
Really? You don't have a word that annoys you even?
Yeah,
Or
I don't.
pisses you off? Like
Yeah, I
when
don't.
somebody says no to you, you're okay with that?
Yeah, it's very okay.
Wow.
It's just how it is.
Napaka-steady ah. Oh, okay, Mike. Okay, question number 3. Oh, Mike, what turns you on?
Oh, wow. Well, sa akin, meaningful conversation. Meaningful conversation. Pagka basag conversation, it really tires me a lot. Gusto ko yung something that I can learn from. If you talk about
Nice.
science, music, that makes me happy.
Ikaw, Jude, anong turn on mo?
What turns me on? Pag nakikita ko yung legs ni Mrs. Yun na yan.
Yun!
Shelly DP Nagrasha.
Ayop! Okay ah.
Safe answer, Joke lang. I'm kidding.
Hindi,
Joke lang.
napaka-specific, June. Pag nakita niyo yung legs ni Mrs. Very good.
Yun na yan.
Marunong.
Yun.
June, ano naman yung turn off mo?
Turn off. Pag nakapantalon si Mrs. So, hindi ko nakikita yung legs niya. Turn off.
Galing. What about you, Mike? What turns you off?
Myth-based ideas like, alam mo yun, like, anti-vaxxers, flat earthers, yan. It really turns me off. Parang, just fucking tires me. Napapagod din ako sa mga tao na who blames women for being raped dahil nakasexy sila. Alam mo yun?
That's just stupid.
That shit, that fucks me up.
Yeah.
Kasi kahit nakahubad yan,
that pisses me off. That pisses me off.
Kasi
man.
kahit nakahubad yan, wala karapatang basusin yun.
Correct.
Yeah, so, bigotry, maybe.
Okay, Mike, what sound or noise do you love?
Ako we talked about this earlier with Audrey, right? I love the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the rain. I love
Sound
it when
of the
when my kid tells me that she loves me nang hindi ko siya tinatanong. You know, out of the Daddy, I love you.
Maganda yan. Ikaw, June.
Yun. Waves.
Dagat,
Beach.
Dagat si June.
Beach.
Dagat si June.
Ganda.
Tapos nandun yung legs ng misis ko. Nako, pag
Ayun.
nakikita ko yun.
Galing. Yun.
Galing.
Oh, so, okay. So, ano naman yung sound or noise na ayaw mo, June?
Ako? Pag sinabi ng misis ko na ayaw niya, yun. Parang, ano yun, parang gano'n.
Yeah.
And you, Mike? What about you?
High-pitched bark sounds. When a small dog barks na napakatining, like Japanese Spitz, ganyan, tumatahol ng napakatining. I fucking hate it. Hindi ko alam bakit. Piss me off.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Next question tayo. Mike, what is your favorite shower song? What do you sing in the shower?
Alam mo, I haven't played a shower song for the longest time. Siguro nung bata ako, it was Guns N' Roses. Pero I have to admit, I love the 80s stuff.
Yeah.
I love the 80s stuff, yeah. Pop 80s stuff. I like it. Like Cyndi Lauper.
Diba, yun yung mga guilty pleasures natin sa shower eh. Yung mga hindi natin matutugtog live, kinakanta natin sa shower eh.
Yeah. Hindi ko siya kinakanta kasi ang taas ng boses nila. Yeah. Pero
susubukan mo pa rin. Nasa shower ka naman eh.
Totoo. Talaga.
Ikaw,
Cyndi
June.
Lauper, no? Sayo mga gano'n yan.
Ikaw, June, anong shower song mo?
Kanina naligo ako, nakinig ako, nag-sound trip ako. Misery.
Kanina?
Misery ng Soul
Soul
Asylum.
Very good. Good choice. Very good choice.
Very
Grunge.
good choice.
Alternative.
Very good choice. Okay, next question tayo. What habit or behavior annoys you the most? June.
Ano ba? Parang wala eh. Wala.
Hindi ka napipikon sa mga taong nagka-cut in line sa pila, inuunahan ka sa jeep. Ako na, annoy ako dun
Hindi.
eh.
Kumbaga, dati naanoy ako pero ngayon parang hayaan mo na sila. Kasi kung naanoy ka, awayin mo, tatagal pa yung oras, hassle pa. Parang hayaan mo na sila.
Nice. Very good. Very nice, steady answer lang. Very good. What about you, Mike? What habits or behavior annoys you the most?
Sobrang dami. Sobrang dami.
Isa lang. Yung nasa top 10 mo.
Ako siguro top 10 ko yung mga sobrang anti-science people.
People who refuse to believe scientific fact.
Yeah, yung mga anti-fact people like mga naniniwala kay Donald Trump. Sorry. I'm not supposed to. Pero you know what I mean.
I know
So mga anti-critical thinking shit.
Yes.
Pisses me off. Tapos kumakalma sa akin si June. Pero hindi naman niya talaga ako nakakalma. Kasi masyado na ako inis. Bro, easy lang. Tapos bilang hindi ako nakakalma kasi pero
relax ka lang, relax.
Pero I love him for it. Another person who tries to calm me down calms me down kasi nakakita ka ng someone similar. So si John Joe, you know John Joe, right? Yeah, so kasi ganun rin siya. So
yeah, he's steady. He's very steady. Yeah.
Yung mga naniniwala sa mga anti-vaccine and stuff like that pisses me off kasi it really messes the world up.
True. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, next question tayo. If you could collaborate with any artist, living or dead, who would that be? Isa lang. Mike, let's start with you.
Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
I would love to make him a song na sana magsuhan niya. Parang dami ko ideas.
Ikaw, June.
Ito, medyo, baka possible to. Si Kevin Roy.
Yeah, Kevin Roy yan. Very good.
Gandang collaboration nun.
Yeah, yung boses ni Kevin Roy. Tama, June. Boss si Kevin Roy. Dami mo magagawa dyan.
Oo, correct.
Yeah.
Okay, last question natin. When you get to heaven, what do you want God to say to you? June.
Bumalik ka muna. Parang balik ka muna. Parang
hindi mo pa time, balik ka muna.
Si Bray pala na sinabi kanina. Si
Bray. Ano sabi ni Bray?
Sinabi siya kanina, di ba? Sabi niya, what took you so long? Sabi niya ganun.
Sabi ni Bray.
What about you,
niya,
Mike? What about you, Mike?
Welcome,
when you get to heaven, what do you want God to say to you?
Welcome to the beer garden of Eden.
Wow.
Welcome to the beer garden of Eden.
That sounds like a nice heaven, no?
Yeah, nice heaven. Pare pas you just puputulin mo lang yung vine tapos may beer ka na.
Okay yun?
Or whiskey.
Table for how many?
Whiskey.
Sabihin ni God.
Yeah, table for how many? Ginawa mo namang receptionist si God. Table po.
Tapos
window or sa sulok lang
window,
po?
May kami dito. May bago kami. Batang-bata. Ganun.
Okay, Jude.
Jamie, ano yan? Influence yung nakakakwentuhan nila ni Tirso.
Ayan.
Nakakakwentuhan nila ni Tirso.
Ayun, yes. Yeah,
si
okay, that makes sense.
Pagkikwentuhan mo na ganyan.
Puro tawaran na lang.
Okay, one for the road tayo. One question for the road. What words of wisdom or advice would you give to anybody just starting out in music today? June, umpisa tayo sa'yo.
Yun, siguro in connection dun sa kaninang kwentuhan natin, magtrabaho ka para makapagbanda ka.
Make sure you do what you need to do so you can do what you want to do. Yun.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike? What advice would
Honestly,
you give?
wisdom sa iba, siguro ito yan. Wala. I have no advice for them. Kasi lahat sobrang unorthodox. Sobrang unorthodox ng buhay. And wala akong mabibigay sa inyong advice. I don't have that wisdom.
So, bahala na kayo, parang magbanda kayo.
Magbanda kayo kasi the truth is,
gusto niyo yan, magbanda kayo.
Sobrang sa dami ng palpak namin, I can't even pick the worst gig or a bad gig na favorite ko. I don't have a bad favorite gig. Wala. Ang sa akin lang, the only thing that I'm banking on is this. Be a musician first. You just work on yourself. Tapos if it calls to you na magbanda ka, then do it. Pero word of wisdom, wala. Kasi as far as I'm concerned, we are not one of those bands who made it. Diba? We're not one of those bands na, we're just a band na ang pinakamalaking success namin is sana. Pero the best success na meron kami is surviving each other. Right? Na-survive namin yung attitude, yung tigas ng ulo ni June, tigas ng ulo ko, tigas ng ulo ni Brian. And so far, that's it. So I don't have any advice sa ibang tao.
So if there's any advice, if there's any wisdom we can get from that, let's go back to when you said na, marunong kayo makipag-away. You know how to fight with each other.
Yeah.
And even after 10 years, even if you can't remember some of those years, you're still doing it. Yeah. You're still releasing music. So you're just continuing to do what you love to do. And I think that's an example that would be very important to anybody just starting out in music. If you don't make it, don't give up. Because you're not in this to make it anyway. If you're having fun, keep on doing it. Yan yung advice. Dapat ako yung nagsusulat ng PR nyo Nan. Ako na magsusulat ng PR.
Jamie, may funny thing na nangyari sa akin. It was a gig na kasama si Brian Velasco has always been a good friend of mine since college. So, nakakatawa yan. One gig. Nanood kami ng Razorback sa Star Mall ba yun, June? Star Mall ba yun?
Star Mall, Substation?
Substation, yeah.
Cowboy Grill.
Hindi Cowboy Grill. Doon sa South Station. Brian told me na bago ka maglabas ng any material, dapat alagang-alaga yan before you release it. Right? Then, Kevin Roy, after a few minutes, I was talking to him. Sabi niya sa akin, panindigan mo kung ano yung nilabas mo. So if you're going to ask me about advice to kids, just work on yourself. So I'm taking it from two very wisdomful people who made it, and I have no idea about it. So sa akin, just fucking work on yourself.
Work on yourself and keep on doing what you love to do.
Yeah. If you start listening to my advice, it may fuck you over more than. Baka mas mali pa. Right? So hindi ko alam. I mean, I got the most opposite advice na makukuha ko sa isang gabi from two of those guys. And
from
one
two
of those
people
guys,
you respect, di ba? And look up to. Tapos, tayo na kayong dalawa.
si Kevin, idol ko, poetry niya and how he carries himself. Tapos Brian, who I always got fucked drunk in college. Diba? You don't know what to say. Di mo alam magagawin mo. So yun yung pinaka-advice ko. Don't take advice from me.
That's good advice. My advice is don't take advice from me.
Don't take advice from anyone. Just fucking
sayang
be the best that you can do. Oh, man. I mean,
dapat may take two tayo. Tapos i-defend ni Brian lahat ng laglagan natin. Baka sabihin niya, hindi, linalaba ko naman yung chaleko ko
No, Brian Velasco to. Brian Velasco. This is Brian Velasco.
I miss Brian Velasco.
We got fucking drunk one time sa apartment niya. Kasi Brian is a Jeet Kune Do guy Nag-martial arts yan And I was into martial arts also. Tapos, Nag-aaway kami over something na sobrang stupid. Sobrang stupid. Tapos, nung kalmado na kami, we decided to drink some more. So, what he did was, naglabas siya ng parang malong. Alam mo yun, naglabas siya parang
Oh.
malong. You fucking wear that, sabi sa akin. So, sinuot ko ganyan. Sabi ko, I feel like Carl Roy, right? Because that's supposed to be Carl Roy's. Mga ganun siya. So, he wore his malong. Tapos, sumakay kami ng elevator. Malong lang suot namin, wala kaming t-shirt. We went to the local 7-Eleven, bought some drinks, went up and drank some more. So I don't think that me or Brian as a friend are the people you should be taking advice from. Kasi yung mga security guard were looking at us na tangina sino itong mga siraulong to. Are you gay?
Yeah.
Baka isipin pa na bakla kami na,
Yeah,
you know,
but hey, sometimes
or
when you meet the crazy people, sometimes those are the people that you actually should listen to. And I'm a firm
maybe.
believer in that. You guys don't do anything normal. You are obviously off the beaten path.
Maybe.
You have made your own choices and you're sticking by your guns, which I think is very important for anyone as a person and as an artist. You have to be
Uh,
able to stick to your guns and do what you love doing. But I
yeah,
really do like that, Mike.
survive each other.
I think that's gonna go down in, again, a very unique answer to the question. My advice is don't take advice from me. I like that.
Yeah, that's the best advice I
Gagamitin
can
ko
give
yan.
everyone.
Gagamitin ko yan.
Don't take advice from me, especially those people that I love. Don't take advice from them. Don't take advice from si June. I love June. Don't take advice from him. Ako,
Dinadamay ka
don't
na,
take
Jun, ah.
ako don't take advice from me kasi lahat yan ano lang we survived yung katangahan ng isa't isa. And
Well,
Brian, I love the guy, Brian Velasco.
uh,
Don't take advice from him. Pero more than ever, ito yung takeaway dyan. Si Brian Pernice, who is absent now, don't take advice from him, please.
Brian, the bass player.
Brian, the bass player, don't take advice from him. Your
They,
life will be so much better.
all right, guys. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
taking the time to come out
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you, Jamie.
Guys, you gotta catch. For those of you who are listening, make sure you follow these guys on Spotify. Check out the YouTube videos, and when this pandemic lifts, I'm going to be the first one at your gigs, guys, and hopefully matuloy
Sarap.
yung tour
Thank you,
natin
Jamie.
because I would
Oo
love to
naman.
be
Fuck.
on stage with you guys. So thank you,
Yeah.
June. Thank you, Mike. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank
that's
you,
Black Wolf
Jamie.
Gypsies. Thank you, guys. Ingat kayo, ah. Stay safe.
Salamat.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Jamie.
All right. That was amazing. When you hear about bands and their trials and tribulations, a lot of them don't seem to have a lot of sense of humor about it. But these guys, I love the way these guys are so rock and roll. They're going to continue doing, what they love doing. And I love the fact that for the first 3 years that the band was together, the Black Wolf Gypsies was together, they don't remember a lot of those years. And you can't get more rock and roll than that, man. So Black Wolf Gypsies, thank you so much. More power to you. I'm going to keep on streaming Manhid and Biahe, and you guys should keep on creating music, and I'll be the first one there when you guys play live. So yeah, that's our show for tonight. But of course, before we end, a few announcements from Offshore Music. We've got new music coming out this Friday. Suspiria Pink is releasing a new single this Friday called Everything Everything. You can also listen to their latest release called Lonely Hearts. That's from Suspiria Pink. And of course, um, Sulo also just released a song called Bugad Lawin, and it kicks ass. Now, this music is, of course, on all streaming platforms. Suspiria Pink is actually going to be releasing their debut album, full length album called Vices. And in other words, Bisho. I can't think of a better band and a better fucking album title than those things. So make sure to follow Offshore Music on their YouTube channels, on their Spotify channels, and just keep on streaming good music from good homegrown Filipino bands, man. And of course, I'd like to thank also Buenos Dias Panaderia and Misty Mountain Cafe. Thank you so much for all the love that you've been sending us. Milo buns and Cordillera Gold coffee is the best combination you could possibly get in your life. So make sure to follow them on Instagram and on Facebook. Place your orders. These guys are great to deal with and they deliver a really, really good product. So make sure, thank you so much. You make sure to support our local industries, specifically Misty Mountain Cafe and Buenos Panaderia. And of course, from our friends from Liquor.PH, ramp up for rum this April at Liquor.PH this month. Liquor.PH is taking rum in a new direction with a rum round table. Ooh, say that fast 10 times. Rum round table, rum round table, rum round table. They're doing that on April 22nd at 8 p.m. via Zoom. Get together to discuss nine different rums together in an online forum where every opinion matters. For just 1,249 pesos, you get 9 30 ml samples. That's an absolutely great deal. And of course, you get them free, delivered free in Metro Manila. Now, make sure to join up for an intelligent discussion with an incredible lineup of rum. Join them for the first ever rum roundtable when you purchase these things, your premium liquor at liquor.ph. And of course, we've got something special coming on this week. It's going to be on Facebook Live, and this is going to be an online streaming fundraiser for our friend Juno Obanda, and it's going to be called Juno Jam. I'm going to be hosting it along with Boy at Season and Bing Austria. We've got a great lineup of artists all there to support our dear friend Juno Obanda, who's a fantastic director for concerts and music videos. We're going to be having Nicole Asensio. We've got Razorback playing. We've got the Dawn playing. We've got Ryan Kayabyab playing. We've got the Itchy Worms. We've got Ben and Ben. So make sure to follow the Juno Jams page on Facebook and tune in tomorrow night at 7 p.m. where we're going to be talking to these musicians, these amazing artists. We're going to be hearing them play, and that goes on until Saturday. So that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 7 p.m. on the Juno Jams Facebook page. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to keep on seeing you guys at the end here. Next week we're going to have something special happening. I'm not going to reveal it because we're going to release a poster, but it's going to be a very interesting discussion about music next week, and really in detail a discussion about music and the forms that we love. So, yeah, thank you so much for tuning in to On the Rocks. I'm Jamie Wilson, and I'm here to remind you to please stay safe, stay strong, and stay sane. And keep on rocking and keep on rolling. And if all else fails, man, hey, just let the music keep you going. And if you find that life has you shaken or stirred, mixed up, or on the rocks, what matters most is that you take your shot. Thank you very much, and good night. On the Rocks with Jamie Wilson is brought to you by Offshore Music. Go where the sound takes you.